Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain J, and tonight we have a very special treat for you. Yes, we do, because we are going to be theory crafting some BLOOMBURROW here on MOXFIELD. I have not made a MOXFIELD account. This is my brand new MOXFIELD account, so if you want to follow me on here, I got no followers. You can go check me out. Never made it before, but I really do like the deck building system that they have here, and today you can see we've built an ORZHOV bat deck that I want to go over. Kind of my initial theories, ideas of how to use them all together, looking at the interactions. So we're going to go over, do a little shakedown breakdown of this deck, and do a couple of test hands and see how it plays out a little bit. So stay tuned for that. Before we get down to it, guys, I need you to do something for me, which is, of course, tenderly press that like button, gently press that subscribe button. Because if you don't like and subscribe to the channel, guys, well, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to be attacked by the like and subscribe. Which you may or may not know, the like and subscribe being a werewolf who attacks you for not liking and subscribing to the channel. So, go ahead and do that. Join us on a stream every night at twitch.tv/thatvillainj for all live streaming goodness. We'd love to have you there live and in person on YouTube and on Twitch. On twitch.tv/thatvillainj. And, of course, you can hit that bell. You'll be notified when we go live on YouTube. Additionally, so there's two ways to watch. Check out our Discord community for all the latest news, information, poster decks, post memes, theory craft, whatever you want to do. Check it out there. And of course, this deck and all the others that I build, this one will eventually be available on AetherHub once they upload the cards. But today I want you to check out my MOXFIELD. If you're a member, go follow me there. Go say hi, take a look at it. And I want to see your version of the deck too. What are you theory crafting? What do you like about this deck? What do you not like? What do you think are the banger cards? Or did I forget a card and I'm totally missing something here? Anyways, we want to get down to this. So this is going to be a ORZHOV gain and drain, flyers, a little bit aggro, because we are kind of go on the cheap here with a lot of new interactions between the new bats and things. We're going to start with some old cards first. Let's jump into this right here. Life gain and drain is going to be important. I want to put at least 2 Case of the Uneaten Feast, because whenever creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. That's going to be critical in triggering some of these interactions that we have, okay? We are going to want to gain life consistently, so being able to play one and then gain is fine. I don't really worry about solving it if we gain 5 or more this turn. It is possible that we do that. It's not hard to do that with this deck. And solved, you may cast a card from your graveyard. It's a little bit of resurrection that you get for solving Case of the Uneaten Feast. I kind of want to keep it on the board. I don't, you have to sacrifice this to get that activated. So only in dire emergencies. We already have some pretty good bat support. If you've been playing since Ixalan, you know that we have actually some pretty decent bats. I think 3 Runelurker bats for at least a couple of 1-drops right here. 1/1 flying lifelink for 1 white mana is pretty solid. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, meaning if a permanent was put in your graveyard from anywhere, you get to scry 1, which is great. So you can check the top card of your deck. So those are your 1-drops right there. Your 2-drops, here's where we're going to start getting to some meat and potatoes right here. Let's start with the familiar ones before we get into these unfamiliar. Bitter Triumph, 4 Bitter Triumphs. Now, Bitter Triumph is not only serving as a great removal here from Ixalan. Discard as an additional cost, you have to pay 3 life or discard a card or destroy target creature planeswalker. To destroy target creature planeswalker, 1 black and 1. We want to lose life with this deck because there's certain effects that won't go off unless we gain and lose life. So having that option of, yeah, maybe we could discard, but sometimes we specifically want to lose a little bit of life is not the worst thing in the world for this. So we're going to use that for removal. Deep Cavern Bat is like almost an auto-include nowadays. Is almost like an auto-include nowadays for, black decks. Like, it's so good to possibly to lock out certain creatures and certain cards from your opponent. 1 black and 1. 1/1 flying and lifelink. That's already pretty decent for a black card, but you get to look at your opponent's hand, exile a non-land card from it until it leaves battlefield. Hit their removal, hit their important cards, hit their board wipes, anything like that that you want to do. It'll slow your opponent down. They have to spend a turn to remove it. They have to spend a turn to kind of deal with it, and it's very effective in controlling the game out. So that's a good one right there. Do you want to do 4? I don't know. You could do 3, I think, and then maybe if you want to increase one of these new ones, you certainly could. So Lunar Convocation is a really good. Here's an ORZHOV card right here. These are new. You see the ones with the red border? They're not legal yet. July 30th, it's coming to Arena. So Lunar Convocation is an important one. 1 black, 1 white. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. So this pairs really nicely with Case Unmean Feast, because that means you're gaining and draining every single time, every turn if you've ever played a creature. So that's really good too. And if you have multiple of them, they're going to lose multiple instances of life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black creature token, black bat creature token with flying. Really, really good right there. Generate a token if you've gained and lost, which is pretty easy to do. Again, like you said, you could play Bitter Triumph and put down a creature and you've gained and lost. Then, of course, you have the ability to include it in this to pay 2 life to draw a card. So you can guarantee that you lose life in case you've gained life, so you can get the double trigger off. You pay 1 black and 1. You don't even have to tack of it. You can actually pay that as many times as you want. You pay 2 life and you draw a card. Even though she's not in this deck, for Sheldred, that's really good life. That's really good draw right there, because it's basically you get to draw a card for 2 mana every single turn because it's negated from drawing that. So Lunar Convocation is one to keep on, even not in bat decks, but it is really good in this bat deck. Essence Channeler right here. This is one that I'm hesitant on. I think she's good, but I don't know if she's great. 1 white and 1 2/1. As long as you've lost life this turn, Essence Channeler has flying and vigilance. So again, it's pretty easy to lose life in this deck with Lunar Convocation, Bitter Triumph, and there's some other things coming up that we'll combo with. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Essence Channeler. So this is one of those cards that can really get out of control the more life you're gaining. Whenever you gain life, you get the 1/1s, and when she dies, you get to put the counters on a target creature you control. So she gives away her counters upon death right there. As a rare, pretty good. Probably going to be a staple of white light life gain decks from now on, especially with the ability to give it flying and vigilance. We're rotating out that one card, that Spirit, that gets, +1/+1 for life, and then it gets vigilance and indestructible. This is probably going to be a pretty good replacement for it. Does it belong in the bat deck? We'll have to see. I like it. I think it'll be good, but I really want to try it out to see what the synergies are. Starscrape Cleric. Now here's what I'm talking about here. Here's one of these gain and drain effects like Vito's daughter, or even Vito. Not Vito himself, not as powerful as Vito himself, but Vito's daughter. 1 black and 1 2/1 Bat Cleric. Look at that. I love this watercolor artwork. It reminds me of old school Magic the Gathering cards from the 90s. They all kind of look these very abstract ways. It has the Offspring ability, which is a new ability available in Bloomburrow, which is basically you cast this kicker cost, 1 black and 2, and you get another one that's a 1/1 token copy of it. It is a 2/1 flying, it cannot block, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses life. So you're starting to see the gain and drain effects right here. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses life at the end of turn. When a creature comes into play, whenever you hit, you're starting to see a lot of the gain and drain effects hit off right here when you start stacking them up. So really useful. I think at least 3 of these to slowly start to whittle your opponent down with the life gain and drain that you're going to start building up. Sonar Strike is a bat removal. Is it as good as maybe Destroy Evil? I don't know. Maybe you want to swap it out for Destroy Evil, but I figured I'd had to add it right here. 1 white and 1. Sonar Strike deals 4 damage to target attacking, blocking, or tapped creature. You gain 3 life if you control a bat. Great way to gain some life, and great way to bash somebody for 4 damage to attacking, blocking, or tapped. Pretty useful right there. So consider it. It's a great way to gain life and do a lot of damage right there for additional removal. Now here's the 4 drops. Here's where we're starting to get into some serious ones right here. Dark Star Augur. This one is specifically very, very interesting because I call it Necropotence adjacent. It's very similar to these effects right here. 1 black and 2 2/3 Offspring, which means you could pay 1 black and get an additional copy of this bat. You can get an additional copy of this bat out. It's a 1/1 copy. It does the same thing. 2/3 flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. Dangerous. Dangerous. It is going to feed you cards off the top, but however, if it is feeding you mana or maybe even these little 1 drops or 2 drops, it's not that dangerous. You might hit on a big one. You might hit one of your 5 drops and get really hit. And if you have 2 of them, it's going to be looking at the top. So it is going to feed you cards into your hand very quickly. but it's going to come at a price. So kind of gauging this, how you do it, is going to be key here. It could be potentially very dangerous. Card superiority is extremely valuable in Magic, and even just getting that once each turn, just an extra card each turn, potentially, in the form of a creature right there, is going to be potentially dangerous. And if you're gaining a huge amount of life every turn because of whatever you're doing, how you're playing the deck, I think it might offset the negatives. You also have to remember it's a 2/3, it's a Bat Warlock. By the way, being a Warlock means it's an outlaw, so maybe there's something there too. But I don't know. I don't think more than 2 right now. I'm really going to have to see how this one plays out. It could backfire, could be a secret winner right there, but I really like it. Also, the art is sick with those teeth on there. Moonstone Harbinger. This bat is awesome. Why? Because his art is an armored bat warrior, and he's holding an axe, a moon-themed axe with his little bat feet, and I assume he attacks by just spinning around in the air, just by going whirlwind mode. One has to assume that that is the method with which he attacks, is to just spin around in a circle somehow. So that's awesome. 1 black and 2, 1/3, flying and death touch. Already pretty good. Like, that's not bad at all by itself. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, bats you control get +1 and death touch. This ability only triggers once. The fact that I can play him, gain 1 life, give every single one of my bats give every one of my bats +1 in death touch is crazy good. Crazy good. I know it only triggers each month, but damn. Being that ability just is so easy to do, gain or lose life depending on what is happening. It might automatically go off every single turn if you have a Darkstar Augur. So great synergy there. Patchwork Banner. This is one that everyone kind of needs to know about. If you're running tribal, this is the absolute. This is like Heraldic Banner or any of those other effects, Icon of Ancestry or anything like that. 3-drop right here. 3-drop artifact. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, which is, of course, bats. That's what we're going to choose. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and we get to add 1 mana of any color. So a mana rock, a Lord effect, at a 3-drop speed for uncommon. Pretty good tribal support. You're going to need to keep an eye on this one for pretty much any tribal deck that you're going to be running. Zoraline, Cosmos Caller. I love this Zoraline art. She is upside down and completely asleep with her wings wrapped around her and, you know, her cloak, her fancy cleric's cloak hanging down with the sleep bubbles, the ZZZ bubbles coming out. Great artwork. I can't fault the artwork in this deck right here. So Flying and Vigilance, 3/3 for a 3-drop. That's already good. A 3/3 3-drop Flying and Vigilance, decent. Whenever a bat you control attacks, you gain 1 life. Amazingly good, especially when we pair it with Starscrape, which means that anytime if we attack with 5 bats, we gain 5 life and they lose 5 life. Ooh, that could be a finisher right there, guys. That could, if you got 2 of these, that could be a finisher right there, boys. Like, bad hit right there we could do if we swarm out with bats. When Zoraline enters the battlefield or attacks, you may pay 1 black and 1 white and 2 life. When you do, return target non-land permanent you control with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it, meaning that if it dies, it gets exiled, so it can't come back again. So she resurrects somebody if you pay that extra 2. So she's a 3-drop, potentially a 5-drop if you want to immediately resurrect somebody. Again, you could immediately resurrect Starscrape and then swing in with your whole board of bats and immediately get that gain and drain effect right there. So great stuff with Zoraline right here. I love that she's depicted sleeping in the middle of the day with this one, which is pretty funny. I don't know any other legendary cards where the legend on the card is actively asleep during the during the artwork, which is cool. I gotta throw in a Sanguine Evangelist here. We gotta have vampires. If we're doing bats, we gotta have vampires, you know? It just makes sense, guys. You know the lore. 1 white and 2/1 Vampire Cleric. You know it. Battle Cry, giving everyone +1/+1 when she attacks with everyone else. Fang Brethren, we feed together. I mean, even the flavor text fits in. And when she enters the battlefield or dies, you create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. So you get those 2 effects. You get 2 creatures when she comes in, a 1/1 flying bat and a 2/1, and then when she dies, you get another one. This is great for triggering twice on Case of the Uneaten Feast. Remember, you get 2 creatures come in because of her double effect. You're going to get 2 pings of life, which is going to be extremely useful. 2 pings of life could mean 2 life losses distinctly for Starscrape, etc. and so forth. Combine the battle cry with the Moonstone Harbinger, you're giving your bats a lot of power to swinging in the sky. And also there's bats all over the artwork, so come on. Sanguine Evangelist is an easy fit for this deck right here. Now, the final ones here, we're going to talk about the 5 drops. I think one Aclazot's Bat God. Lately I've been feeling like a Bat God. One of him, I think he's a one-off. We're not really investing too heavily into discard, but potentially he could pair up really nicely. And I think there's a case to be made of a mono black bat discard deck out there if you didn't want to do ORZHOV. Less focused on the gain and drain and more focused on the discard and the control. 2 black and 3, 4/4 legendary creature Bat God. Flying and lifelink, so 4/4 lifelink flying is already amazing. Whenever he attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. If they discard a land card, we get a 1/1 bat black creature token with flying. And if he dies, he returns transformed as a land, the Temple of the Dead right here. He can turn back into Aclazots if they only have 1 or fewer cards and only as a sorcery. If we have 1 or fewer or they have 1 or fewer. So I think a one of is not a bad idea, but I am more interested in this new one, which is going to be the Starseer Mentor right here. 1 black, 1 white, and 3, 3/5 Bat Warlock, Flying and Vigilance, not bad. A lot of these bats have Flying and Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Really effective. So if we've done either one of those things, I think that that's important. If we've gained life either through our Case of the Uneaten Feast or any of our life gain creatures, or lost life through Lunar Convocation or Darkstar Augur, Darkstar Augur will guarantee, when combining with Starseer Mentor, it guarantees that they're going to have to do this at the beginning of the end step. They have to sacrifice or lose 3 life every single time. They are going to lose even more life with Lunar Convocation out if we've gained life. So you're putting a position in where you're attacking with a lot of flying creatures with a lot of damage potentially, gaining and draining on the attacks with Zoros, Zorling, Cosmos, possibly draining on that. Anytime you gain life, you're draining, and then finishing the turn on the end step. They might just not have enough left. They might not have enough left to get rid of anything in their hand or do anything else. So they might have to sacrifice or discard a card. Aclazots, if they discard a card, it pairs really nicely. If they say, well, I'll chuck my land card, I'll chuck my mountain. Well, guess what? I get a bat. I get a bat flying creature token. I get a creature token, I get Case of the Uneaten Feast, I gain a life, I make them lose a life. So there's synergy between all of these different bad cards. There really is a lot here. I think it's going to be a very effective deck. Without having played it, I can't dial it in 100%. I can't get it to the point where I say like, ooh, this is perfect. I'm going to have to play test and see which ones are which here. So yeah, it's going to be super, super important. It's going to be super fun, and I'm very much looking forward to this bat deck right here. As far as lands go, Caves of Koilos, very interesting Caves of Koilos because it does 1 damage to me. It will specifically be useful because of that. Don't forget, I can tap this to do 1 damage to myself, which will trigger Bat Warlock or any one of these other ones that require you to take damage. So not a bad idea to have the Caves of Koilos, Concealed Courtyard, and Restless Fortress for the gain and drain effect that we can potentially. So even our ORZHOV lands are going to be supporting our efforts in how things go on this one. Sideboard, there could be a case for Valley Rockcaller right here. 1 black and 1/1/3. It is a Squirrel Warlock. It is not actually a bat. If you look at it right here. However, it gets, whenever Valley Rockcaller attacks, each opponent loses X life, and we gain X life, where X is the number of squirrels, bats, rats, lizards, and squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats we control. So it can slot into any one of those kind of tribal decks. If we just have it in our bat deck and we swing in with this and a bunch of bats, we could potentially kill on the attack. If we attacked, like, if we have Zorleen and Rockcaller out, and we have the Starscrape Cleric, and we're doing the gain and drain, could be potentially big right there. Probably we'll put it in a different deck. We'll probably do like a rat bat deck. We'll just call it the rodent deck, and have some more fun with it right there. So I gotta see it. I gotta check it out. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how all that shakes out. So overall, yeah, pretty interesting. No 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, and 5 right here. That's what we're looking at. I think the CMC is going to be 23 lands altogether. Quick basics, let me see. I think the CMC is, where is the CMC for me? It's decent CMC, that's the point. I can take a look at the opening hand here. We can do a couple of play tests just to see how the first few turns would shake out and how quickly you can get the synergies out. So let's go to the play test real quick. We're gonna see how it goes. So that's not a bad opener. Let's see how that goes. So you would put one thing, put Ruin Lurker down. You would do next turn, you draw land, boom. You would probably attack with that, boom, untap, and then next turn, we could do this, Augur, not bad. Next turn, I would say probably play this and play a removal. Next turn, boom, Starseer Mentor, boom, Lunar Convocation, and boom. So not bad altogether. You can see that there's a decent amount of suppression right there. We can check it again right here. That's not a bad opener either. This is a more aggressive opener. So we can drop one, Ruin Lurker, next turn, go right to the Caves of Koilos and do Starscrape. This is a great opening combo because now I can attack with this. I'm going to gain 1 life for hitting, be able to scry, and then lose 1 life for that. So that's pretty good right there. So next turn, it untaps for me. Turn 3, I can put down the Convocation because this will come into play tapped. Boom. Next turn, turn 4. Yeah, drop that. So pretty smooth overall. I feel like there's a lot of potential here. Now we're just not drawing mana. There's our 5th mana. Woo. Talk about the drought. I even drought in simulations, guys. How do you like that one? So overall, I think there's a pretty smooth curve on this one. Like you can see, I'm always usually able to hit at least 1, 2, 3 going in. Like that's a pretty good opening play right there. Again, I droughted out right there, but overall, not bad. Especially being flyers, a lot of times people just don't have the defense for flyers that they need. So that is going to be a big one right there. So overall, I think it plays nicely. I think it's going to play pretty smoothly. Again, I think that's going to require a lot more play testing to really see how it shakes out. To really see what is the standout cards and what isn't. But overall, I think there's something here. I think it's probably going to be one of the better decks, especially when we start combining it with new stuff. I would mulligan this. Yeah, I would mulligan this. Boom. Yeah, so 1 drop, Case of the Uneaten Feast. Next turn. Oof. Wow, it's really hitting me on these lands here, isn't it? Anyways, that's me droughting and flooding even in simulation. I think overall it's pretty smooth though. So yeah, that is ORZHOV Bat Time on MOXFIELD. I'm really excited to get into this game. I'm really excited. My height for Bloomborough was probably at like a 5. It's gone up. It's maybe at a 7 or an 8 now. It's not Duskmourn levels, but I'm really excited to get into these. You know, I love Gain and Drain. I think there's going to be a great amount of synergy with vampires and stuff like that, which of course you know we love. And I think they're just funny. I mean, look at these guys, these Bat Warriors, Bat Clerics, and all this stuff. I think they're just awesome. So I'm really liking the aesthetic of Bloomborough. Very much looking forward to it, and very much looking forward to rotation as well. So that all being said, guys, thank you for joining me here on the channel. Thank you for joining me here on this Theorycraft video. Come join me on MOXFIELD. Come join me on AetherHub, the Discord, on live, on stream, on Twitch, on YouTube, all those places. I've been Villainy, and you've been great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, and I'll see you in Bloomborough.